Tom had $50,000 of the $200,000 needed for his daughter's surgery when exhaustion finally broke him. A mysterious benefactor paid the remaining balance, but when Tom discovered it was his boss's wife, Sarah, the real surprise was just beginning. Tom Mitchell woke to his alarm at 5:30 a.m. At 34, he was the sole parent of his 8-year-old daughter, Emma. Emma's mother, Lisa, had abandoned them 3 years ago when she learned about Emma's condition and couldn't handle the overwhelming responsibility that came with a seriously ill child. Tom's small apartment was located in an old building in Brooklyn. Monthly rent was $1,200, and with electricity, water, and other bills, his total living expenses came to around $2,000. But the real problem was Emma's medical costs. Tom's life revolved around a cycle of 3 jobs. From 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., he worked construction. From 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., he cleaned offices. From midnight to 5 a.m., he drove for Uber. These 3 jobs had one single purpose: saving money for Emma's surgery. Emma had a rare heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Her heart muscles had abnormally thickened, reducing the heart's ability to pump blood. This condition could only be corrected through a very complex open-heart surgery. The doctors had been frank. Without the surgery, Emma's chances of survival were very low. The total surgery cost was $200,000. Insurance would cover only $30,000 of this amount. Tom needed to find the remaining $170,000. This was more than twice his annual income. "Good morning, Princess," Tom said, entering Emma's room and gently waking her. Emma's room was small but warm. The walls were covered with her drawings and books borrowed from the library. "Good morning, Daddy," Emma said with a tired but smiling voice. She had lost more weight in recent months and had trouble breathing. Sometimes she had to stop and catch her breath when climbing stairs. Tom's heart ached seeing his daughter's condition, but he maintained his smile. He didn't want to hurt Emma's morale. "Let's see what Mrs. Henderson cooked for you today. There were wonderful smells coming from downstairs last night." Mrs. Henderson was a 67-year-old widowed woman who lived in the apartment below. A retired nurse, Mrs. Henderson took care of Emma while Tom was at work. Tom paid her $50 daily. This money also formed an important item in his budget, but he had no other choice. "Daddy, you look very tired," Emma said, looking at the dark circles under her father's eyes. "Your eyes are so red." "I'm fine, sweetheart. You just focus on yourself. You have a doctor's appointment today, right?" "Yes, this afternoon. Mrs. Henderson will come with me." Tom prepared breakfast. Simple but nutritious: eggs, bread, milk. Emma's appetite had decreased, but Tom encouraged her to eat. "Princess, you need to gather your strength. You need to be very strong when you have surgery." "Daddy, when will the surgery happen? Is the money ready?" Tom hesitated. He didn't want to tell Emma the complete truth. "We need to wait a little longer, sweetheart, but very soon." After dropping Emma off with Mrs. Henderson, Tom went to his first job at the construction site. The site was building a new office building in Manhattan. Tom carried heavy materials, mixed cement, laid bricks, and moved steel beams. Construction work was physically very demanding. Tom's hands were covered with calluses, his back constantly ached, but this job paid $120 daily, weekly $720, monthly approximately $3,000. "Tom, are you okay?" asked his coworker Carlos. "You look very tired." "I'm fine, Carlos, just went to bed late." "You always go to bed late. What do you do at night?" Tom didn't want to go into detail. "I have another job." At 2 o'clock, the construction job ended. Tom would rush home, shower, and put on clean clothes. He used these hours to spend a little time with Emma. "Daddy, will you play a game with me?" Emma would ask. "Of course, Princess. What shall we play?" They would play chess or look at Emma's drawings. These moments were the most precious hours of Tom's day. But they were very short. At 6:30, he would get ready to go to his cleaning job. Emma's sad face would break him. "Daddy, stay a little longer." "We'll spend more time together tomorrow, Princess, I promise." At 7 p.m., he would arrive at the office building where he worked. This building was the headquarters of Davidson Consulting, owned by successful businessman Michael Davidson. It was a modern 20-story structure, and Tom cleaned 5 floors by himself. He would vacuum offices, empty trash, clean bathrooms, mop floors, and wipe windows. He cleaned each room carefully, organizing desks. The work required great attention to detail because the employees coming in the morning needed to find a clean environment. This job lasted 4 hours and paid $80 daily. Weekly $400, monthly $1,600. At 11 p.m., the cleaning job ended. But Tom's day wasn't over yet. Now the hardest part began: Uber driving. Tom had a 2015 Honda Civic. It had high mileage but a solid engine. With this car, he would transport customers from midnight to 5 a.m. Night hours could bring difficult customers. Drunk people, aggressive types, those wanting to go very long distances. But Tom was patient and professional. This job earned an average of $15 per hour, $75 in 5 hours, $375 weekly, $1,500 monthly. His total monthly income from 3 jobs was around $6,100. After expenses, he could save $3,500 monthly. He had been working at this pace for 6 months and had saved $21,000 so far. But this wasn't enough. After insurance deductions from $200,000, $170,000 remained. At this pace, it would take 4 years to collect the money. Emma didn't have that much time. That's why Tom had decided to increase the amount. For the last 2 months, he had been doing more Uber shifts and looking for construction work on weekends. Thanks to these efforts, his monthly savings had increased to $4,500. He had saved a total of $50,000 so far. But the price was heavy. Tom had been sleeping only 1 to 2 hours a day for the last 2 months. He was very tired physically and mentally. He had lost weight and constantly suffered from headaches. Sarah Davidson was working late at her husband Michael's office building. At 42, she was responsible for the company's social responsibility projects. Since they had no children, she had focused on her career and worked with many charities. Sarah had her own difficult experience. 10 years ago, her brother had gotten cancer, and the treatment costs had put great financial strain on the family. She had never forgotten the difficulties they experienced during that period. One evening, while leaving the office, she noticed the cleaning worker, Tom. The man looked tired but was doing his job carefully. He was cleaning every corner, organizing desks, emptying trash. He worked very carefully and meticulously. "Hello," Sarah said kindly. Tom looked up and was surprised. Usually employees didn't notice him. "Good evening, ma'am. Can I help you?" "No, I just wanted to thank you. You work very cleanly. Our office is perfect every morning." Tom was embarrassed. "Thank you, ma'am. This is my job." Sarah could see the exhaustion in Tom's eyes. There were deep circles under his eyes, a heaviness in his walk. "Take care of yourself." That night on her way home, she thought about Tom. Why was he working so late? Did he have another job? He seemed like a man who could be considered young, but he looked very tired. The next evening, she saw Tom again. This time she observed more carefully. Tom's clothes were clean but old, his shoes were worn, and most importantly, he looked very tired. On the third evening, Sarah gathered courage and spoke. "Excuse me, I'm Sarah Davidson. I believe you clean here." "Yes, ma'am. I'm Tom Mitchell." "Tom, you seem to start very early and finish very late." Tom hesitated. Why was this woman asking questions? But she seemed kind. "Yes, ma'am, I have a few jobs." "A few jobs? That must be tiring." "I'm used to it, ma'am." "Good evening." Sarah was curious. She wanted to learn Tom's story, but decided not to force it. She asked security guard James. James was a reliable man who had worked in this building for 15 years. "James, do you know anything about the cleaning worker, Tom?" "Ah, Tom? Very good man, ma'am. Very reliable, very hardworking. Never causes problems. He mentioned having other jobs." "Yes, ma'am." "He's a single father, has a young daughter. He's in a very difficult situation." Sarah's interest increased. "A single father?" "Yes. Yes, his wife left a few years ago. His daughter has a serious health problem. That's why he works so much." "What kind of health problem?" "Heart condition. A very expensive surgery is needed. Tom is trying to save money for this." Sarah's heart ached. She remembered her brother's illness, how difficult that period had been. "How many jobs does he do?" 3 jobs. Construction during the day, cleaning here in the evening, Uber driving at night. "He never rests, ma'am. Very sad." That night when Sarah went home, she told her husband Michael about Tom. "Michael, is there someone named Tom who works in your building? Cleaning worker Tom?" "Yes, he's an excellent employee, very reliable." "Why did you ask?" "I learned that he's a single father and works 3 jobs for his sick daughter." Michael nodded. Yes, he's in a very difficult situation. I heard from HR he's trying to save money for his daughter's heart surgery. How expensive is this surgery? I heard it's around $200,000. Insurance covers very little. Sarah was shocked. $200,000. How could a man work alone for such a large amount? Michael, can't we help them? How? If we give money directly, his pride would be hurt. These types of people don't want to accept help. Sarah thought. Michael was right. Tom seemed like a man with high pride. As weeks passed, Sarah began observing Tom more carefully. Every night, he looked a little more tired. The dark circles under his eyes were deepening. His walk was getting heavier. Tom's daily routine was truly difficult. He woke up at 5:30 a.m., prepared Emma, and went to the construction site at 6. He finished work at 2 p.m., came home, and spent 1 to 2 hours with Emma. He started cleaning work at 7 p.m., finished at 11 p.m., and immediately switched to Uber. He transported customers until 5 a.m., returned home, and slept only 30 minutes. This schedule didn't change on weekends either. He worked Saturdays and Sundays too, dedicating only a few hours spent with Emma to himself. One evening, Tom collapsed on the floor while cleaning. He stayed like that for a few seconds, trying to breathe. Sarah saw this while walking in the corridor. "Tom, are you okay?" she asked, running over. "Yes, ma'am. I'm just a little tired. I worked overtime last night." "This can't continue like this, Tom. You're killing yourself." Tom tried to get up, but staggered. Sarah caught him. "Sit for a while. Let me get you some water." "No need, ma'am. I'm fine." "Tom, when did you last go to the doctor?" "I don't have time to go to the doctor, ma'am. Emma's doctor appointments are enough." Sarah's heart ached. "When did you last take a vacation? When did you last rest?" Tom thought. "Last summer, we went to the park with Emma for a few hours, but complete rest, I don't remember." "This can't continue like this, Tom. Your body can't take it." "I have no other choice, ma'am. Emma needs surgery." Sarah gathered courage and asked, "How much have you saved so far?" Tom hesitated, but then answered, "Around $50,000. Halfway there." "Yes, but Emma's time is running out. The doctor said she needs surgery within 3 to 4 months at the latest. It's impossible to collect that much money at this pace." Sarah couldn't sleep that night. Tom's situation had affected her greatly. This man was truly sacrificing himself, but this pace was unsustainable. The next day, she called the hospital and asked about Tom's daughter's condition. Of course, the doctor couldn't give details due to patient confidentiality, but confirmed the situation was serious. "Doctor, what happens if the surgery isn't performed?" "Unfortunately, the patient would be at great risk. Heart failure at this age can be fatal." After hanging up, Sarah thought for a long time. How could she help Tom? If she offered money directly, his pride would be hurt and he wouldn't accept. But there had to be another way. That evening, she watched Tom more carefully. The man was truly working beyond his limits. His hands were trembling, he constantly rubbed his eyes, sometimes he walked holding onto walls. "Tom," Sarah said, "can I tell you something?" "Yes, ma'am. You're a very strong father. Emma is very lucky." Tom's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, ma'am. I'm just doing my fatherly duty." "No, Tom. What you're doing is heroism, but please protect yourself too. Emma needs you." Tom nodded. "You're right, ma'am, but I have no other choice." Sarah had made her decision. She would help Tom. 2 weeks later, Tom's condition had deteriorated significantly. His thinking capacity had decreased due to exhaustion, and he had started making mistakes at work. His concentration was impaired, his reflexes had slowed. One day at the construction site, he lost his balance and almost fell from the scaffolding. His coworker, Carlos, caught him at the last moment. "Tom, are you okay? This is very dangerous." "Sorry, Carlos, I'm a little tired." Foreman Martinez approached. "Tom, you've been very careless lately. Working in this condition endangers your safety and others." "Boss, I promise." "I'll be more careful." "Tom, you're a good worker, but you can't work in this condition. Go home, rest, come tomorrow." Tom looked panicked. "No, boss, I need this job, please." Foreman Martinez saw Tom's desperate state. "Okay, but be very careful. If there's an accident, both you and I will have problems." He was having problems at the cleaning job too. One night he fainted in the office and lay on the floor. Security guard James found him and woke him up. Tom, wake up." When Tom opened his eyes, he had trouble understanding where he was. What happened?" you fainted. I found you on the floor. You should see a doctor. No, James, I don't have money. It's for Emma's money. Tom, if you continue like this, you might die. James, please don't tell anyone about this. If I lose my job, Emma will die. James promised when he saw Tom's desperate state. He was having problems during Uber driving too. One night while driving, he dozed off and didn't notice the red light. He managed to brake at the last moment, but it was a very dangerous situation. The customer was angry. What are you doing? We almost had an accident. I'm very sorry. I'm a little tired. Are you tired? Then don't drive. I'm going to complain. When Tom returned home, Emma was starting to worry about him. Daddy, you look very sick. Your face has turned yellow. I'm fine, princess. Don't worry. Daddy, maybe you should rest a little. I don't want you to get sick. Tom hugged his daughter. I'll never get sick, sweetheart. I'm very strong. But Tom wasn't strong. He had lost many pounds, constantly suffered from headaches, his hands were shaking, and his coordination was impaired. One Friday night during Emma's routine checkup at the hospital, Tom fainted in the corridor. When the nurses found him, he was unconscious and his pulse was very weak. The doctor examined Tom in the emergency room. Mr. Mitchell, you're experiencing severe exhaustion. Your blood pressure is low, your blood sugar is unbalanced, and you have severe dehydration. Doctor, I'm fine. Just focus on Emma. Mr. Mitchell, if you continue like this, you might not be alive on your daughter's surgery day. Your body is going into shutdown. What do I need to do? Immediate rest. You must rest at least a week without working at all. Nutrition program, vitamin supplements, and psychological support. Tom panicked. I can't not work for a week, doctor. Emma's money. Mr. Mitchell, the alternative to not working for a week might be permanently not being able to work. The decision is yours. But Tom couldn't listen. He didn't have time. Emma's money wasn't complete yet, and every day was precious. That night, he sat in the hospital corridor, watching Emma's room. His eyes were closing. He was dozing off. At one point, he saw Emma crying in his dream. He woke up screaming, Daddy, what happened? Emma had come out of her room. Nothing, princess. Just a bad dream. Daddy, you look very scared. Tom hugged his daughter. I'll never lose you, Emma. Never. At 6 a.m., the nurse woke Tom up. Mr. Mitchell, please go home and rest. Emma is safe with us. Tom forced himself to stand up. He was late for the construction job, but his body didn't want to move. That day at noon, Tom received a phone call from the hospital. He was mixing cement at the construction site when the phone rang. Mr. Mitchell, I'm calling from the financial department. We need to discuss Emma's surgery bill. Tom's heart almost stopped. He spoke on the phone away from his coworkers so they wouldn't hear. What happened? Is there a problem? No, sir. On the contrary, very good news. Your bill has been paid in full. Tom couldn't believe it. Paid? But how? Who did it? An anonymous benefactor paid the remaining $150,000 exactly. Surgery preparations can begin immediately. Tom was about to drop the phone. This isn't possible. Who did this? Why? Sir, the benefactor wants to remain completely anonymous, but full payment is confirmed. The check has been transferred to your bank. Tom started crying. His coworkers looked at him. Tom, what happened? Asked Carlos. Emma's surgery money. Someone paid it. Completely. What? Is it real? Tom hung up the phone and fell to his knees. The money problem he had been killing himself for 6 months had been solved. He immediately rushed to the hospital. The doctors said they would perform Emma's surgery next week. Daddy, what happened? Why are you crying? Emma asked. Tears of joy, princess, your surgery will be done. Really? Is the money ready? Yes, sweetheart, an angel helped us. Emma hugged her father. Who is this angel, Daddy? I don't know, but I'll find him and thank him for a lifetime. Tom spent a week investigating his mysterious benefactor. He spoke with hospital administration, checked bank records, but he couldn't find any clue. The payment came from an offshore account and couldn't be traced. Emma's surgery lasted 8 hours. While Tom waited outside the operating room, he thought about what he had experienced. A stranger had saved his life. Who could this person be? The surgery was successful. The doctors predicted complete recovery. The operation went perfectly, Mr. Mitchell, the doctor said. Emma's heart is now working normally. We expect full recovery. Tom hugged the doctor while crying. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. Emma stayed in intensive care for 3 days after surgery. Tom never left her side. He no longer had to work 3 jobs because the biggest expense had been taken care of. For the first time in months, he got proper sleep. On the 4th day, Emma was moved to a regular room. On the 5th day, she was discharged. As Tom took her home, he planned to return to his old life. Now he could work just 1 or 2 jobs and spend more time with his daughter. A week after Emma was discharged, Tom returned to his cleaning job. But this time it was different. He was no longer working desperately. Emma's surgery was complete and his daughter was recovering. That evening while cleaning, he saw Sarah Davidson. The woman was looking at him differently than usual. "Tom, how did your daughter's surgery go?" Tom was surprised. How did Sarah know about this? "Very good, ma'am. Thank God it was successful. Emma is completely healthy now." "Dumbass. I'm very happy. You look more relaxed now." "Yes, ma'am. An anonymous benefactor helped. A real lifesaver." A strange light appeared in Sarah's eyes. "Really? How nice. I wish I knew who it was so I could thank them face to face. This person saved mine and Emma's lives." Sarah hesitated. The office was quiet, only they were there. "Tom, I need to tell you something." "Yes, ma'am?" "That anonymous benefactor, it's me." Tom froze. The cleaning cloth in his hand fell to the floor. "You?" "Yes, I paid Emma's surgery bill." Tom's eyes filled with tears. His world was shaking. "Why? Why did you do this?" "Because I watched you, Tom. For 6 months, I started to admire you. The sacrifice you showed as a father, your dedication, your never giving up attitude, you're a real hero." I don't know what to say." Tom's voice was trembling. Sarah approached. "Tom, your story affected me greatly. 10 years ago, my brother had cancer. I never forgot the financial stress we experienced during that period, but we had family support. You were struggling alone." "Ma'am, this is a very big gesture. How can I thank you?" "You don't need to say anything, Tom, but I want to tell you something else." "What?" "This isn't the real surprise, Tom. I didn't just give you financial help. I want to offer you a life-changing opportunity." Tom's heart started racing again. "What do you mean?" "Let's have this conversation in Michael's office. There's a very important proposal." The next day, Tom went up to Michael Davidson's CEO office. He had never been in such a luxurious office in his life. Floor-to-ceiling windows, leather furniture, mahogany desk. Michael stood up. "Tom, finally we meet. I'm Michael Davidson." "Nice to meet you, sir. I don't know how to thank you." "Tom, we don't want you to thank us. We want to discuss business with you." Sarah also entered the office. "Tom, please sit. We're going to present a very important proposal to you." Tom sat nervously. "I'm listening." Michael began. "Tom, Sarah told me your story. Your character, work ethic, family devotion, these are very rare qualities. This company is expanding," Sarah continued. "We're establishing a new department, Social Impact Division. This department will help struggling families like yours." "This department's mission," Michael said, "is to identify families in financial crisis, provide them support, and develop long-term solutions." Tom was listening, but couldn't fully understand. "This is a very noble cause. How can I help?" Sarah smiled. "Tom, we're offering you the director position of this department." Tom's mouth stayed open. "Director? Me?" "Yes," Michael said. "Annual salary $85,000, full benefits package, education fund for Emma, health insurance. But I'm not a university graduate. I don't have management experience." Sarah leaned forward. "Tom, you graduated from the School of Life. You lived real struggle. Your empathy is genuine, more valuable than an academic degree." "No one else can run this department as well as you," Michael said, "because you personally experienced these challenges." Tom thought, this opportunity was incredible, but more importantly, it was meaningful. "What would I do in this position?" "You'll identify struggling families," Sarah said. "You'll design financial assistance programs. You'll build community partnerships. And most importantly," Michael said, "you'll provide every family with the Tom Mitchell experience. Hope, support, and never giving up spirit." Tom's eyes filled with tears. I accept, but I have one condition." "What?" "I don't want to completely give up my cleaning job. I want to continue cleaning here 1 night a week." Sarah was surprised. "Why, Tom?" "Because this job taught me humility. I want to maintain my connection with working class people. I want to stay at ground level." Michael was impressed. "That's a great idea, Tom. Real leadership comes from the ground." "Deal," Sarah said. 1 night cleaning, 6 nights directing." Tom stood up. I don't know how to thank you. You've changed not just Emma's life, but my entire future. Michael shook hands. Tom, we're investing in you because we believe in your character. And Tom, Sarah said, your success means the success of hundreds of families. 3 months later, Tom was working in the head office of Davidson Consulting's Social Impact Division. His office was modest but functional. The walls were covered with photos of families they had helped and thank you letters. Their first projects involved providing financial assistance to families with medical crises. Thanks to Tom's personal experience, identifying real needs was easy. I experienced exactly the same situation, he would tell families. You're not alone. We're here. Emma had completely recovered. She could now run, play, and live a normal child's life. Most importantly, she could spend quality time with Tom. Daddy, you look very happy now, Emma said one evening. Yes, princess, now I can spend more time with you. And you're not sick anymore. You used to look very tired before. Tom hugged his daughter. No, sweetheart, now I'm strong and healthy. He still did cleaning work one night a week, but now it carried a different meaning. He maintained close connection with working-class people and understood their real problems better. The other workers in the building had seen Tom's transformation. Tom, you've totally changed, said James, the security guard. Now you wear suits. James, I'm still the same Tom. I just have different opportunities now. But you're in management now. You'll forget us. Never, James. This weekly cleaning job is exactly for that purpose. I don't want to forget my roots. Sarah and he became an excellent team. While Tom used his field experience, Sarah provided management and strategic planning. Tom, we helped 35 families this month, Sarah said in the monthly meeting. And every single application was legitimate, Tom replied. 0 fake applications. This is thanks to your screening ability. Tom felt proud. He was no longer working just for his own family, but for dozens of families. 6 months later, Tom's social impact division had started to be recognized in the city. Local media began covering their work. An article titled "Single Father Becomes Champion of Hope" detailed Tom's entire story. His 3-job struggle, Emma's surgery, Sarah's anonymous help, and now his director position. This article had a huge impact. Hundreds of people applied to the division. At the same time, other companies became interested in implementing similar programs. Tom, your story gives inspiration to so many people, Sarah said. This isn't just my story, Sarah. None of this would be possible without you. But if you weren't there, I wouldn't have even thought of this opportunity. Tom's story also created a ripple effect in other businesses. Companies started examining their own employees' struggles and began establishing similar social responsibility programs. Emma was now regularly attending school. Teachers were very impressed with her academic and social improvement. Daddy, when I grow up, I want to be exactly like you, Emma said one day. How so, princess? Someone who helps people, someone who saves families. Tom's eyes filled with tears. Emma had not only recovered physically, but had also grown stronger emotionally and mentally. Tom started doing volunteer work at the local hospital. He counseled families in financial crisis. Mr. Mitchell, said one mother, your advice is very valuable because you personally lived this experience. Exactly, Tom said. I know how scary it can be, but hope should never be lost. Davidson Consulting's Social Impact Division had become a model program. Delegations from other cities were visiting to study the program. A year later, Tom visited his old construction site, but this time not as a worker, but for the division's outreach program. Tom, is that you? Shouted old supervisor Martinez. Hello, Martinez. How are you? How did you change so much? You're wearing an executive suit. Tom shared his entire transformation story. Martinez and other workers listened in amazement. So you're now the director of the department that helps struggling families? Exactly. And first, I want to assess your situations. Tom listened to his old colleagues' challenges, which families had medical bills, whose children couldn't afford school, who had housing issues. Carlos, what do you need most? My son needs dental treatment, but insurance doesn't cover it. No problem. That's handled. A week later, Carlos's son's dental care was fully covered by the division. Tom, you've become a real-life angel, Carlos said. No, Carlos. Sarah was the angel. I'm just extending her kindness to other people. As Tom returned home, he reflected on his entire journey. A year ago, he was a desperately struggling, exhausted single father. Now he was someone providing hope to dozens of families. Emma was now completely healthy and spent quality time with Tom every day. "Daddy, shall we watch a movie this evening?" "Absolutely, Princess. What do you want to watch?" "You choose, Daddy. You always make good choices now." Tom embraced his daughter. Emma was right. For the first time in his life, he was in the right place. 2 years later, Tom and Sarah's Social Impact Division had become the city's largest social assistance organization. They had directly helped over 800 families. Tom had now received a promotion to regional director and had started establishing similar programs in other cities. "Tom," Michael said in the quarterly meeting, "your division has become the company's most successful department." "Thank you, sir, but this success is the entire team's effort. But the leadership comes from you. Vision, empathy, real understanding." Tom now spoke at national conferences. He gave presentations titled "Corporate Social Responsibility Beyond Profit." "My story proves that," he would tell audiences, "real business success should be measured by community impact." Emma had entered middle school and was an exceptional student. More importantly, she had become a very compassionate child. "Daddy, I want to help working families exactly like you," Emma said. "Focus on your education now, Princess, but in the future, if you want, we can continue this work together." Tom still maintained his weekly cleaning job. This ensured he preserved his humility. "Tom," said building janitor Maria, "you inspire all of us. You showed that opportunities exist everywhere." "Maria, opportunity alone isn't enough. Hard work, persistence, and sometimes guardian angels are needed." 3 years later, Tom's story became the subject of a documentary. From 3 Jobs to Hope, the Tom Mitchell story was broadcast on PBS. The documentary captured Tom's entire journey: Emma's diagnosis, financial desperation, 3-job exhaustion, Sarah's intervention, career transformation, and impact on hundreds of families. "The purpose of this documentary," Tom said in an interview, "is to show struggling families that hope exists, help is available, community support is real." Sarah was also featured in the documentary. Tom taught us that real corporate responsibility starts at the individual level. One person's compassion can create a ripple effect. After the documentary broadcast, Tom received thousands of messages from struggling families. "Mr. Mitchell, your story gave me hope," wrote a single mother. "I'm also working 3 jobs for medical bills. Now I know I'm not alone." Tom personally responded to every message. "You're absolutely not alone. Find local resources, ask for help, and never give up." Davidson Consulting had now become a national company. The Social Impact Division had opened offices in every state. Emma was now in middle school and had started doing volunteer work. She organized reading programs with children at homeless shelters. "Daddy, these kids remind me of you," Emma said. "They need someone to believe in them." "Exactly, Princess. Everyone deserves someone who believes in their potential." Tom's weekly cleaning routine continued. The workers in the building now saw him as a mentor. "Tom," said new janitor Kevin, "I also dream of a better life. How can I find opportunities?" "Kevin, first step is recognizing that you're already doing valuable work. Second step, develop skills. Third step, recognize opportunities when they come. But sometimes opportunities don't come. Then create them, Kevin. I learned that passive waiting isn't enough. You need to be proactive." 5 years later, Tom was the keynote speaker at a Fortune 500 CEO summit. Theme: Authentic Leadership Through Personal Experience. Hundreds of business leaders were in the audience. Tom took the stage in modest attire, but with confident presence. 5 years ago, he began, "I was a desperately struggling single father, working 3 jobs, trying to save my daughter's life. Tonight, standing here, speaking to you." Tom detailed his entire journey: medical crisis, financial desperation, physical breakdown, anonymous help, career transformation. Sarah Davidson taught me that authentic leadership emerges from real struggle, genuine empathy, and community commitment. The audience was captivated. Several CEOs had tears in their eyes. I challenge each of you: look beyond profit margins. See your employees as complete human beings. Understand their struggles, create opportunities for growth. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. After the speech, dozens of executives approached Tom. "We want to implement similar programs in our companies," said the ExxonMobil CEO. "Tom, your model is revolutionary," said a Goldman Sachs representative. Tom distributed business cards. I'm committed to helping any organization create authentic social impact. That evening, Tom had dinner with Emma at a quiet restaurant. Daddy, I'm proud of you, Emma said. You're making a real difference in the world. Emma, this journey taught me that individual actions can create collective impact, and you showed that adversity can be transformed into opportunity. Tom looked at his daughter. Emma was now 13 years old, wise beyond her years, compassionate and determined. Princess, your generation has much more powerful tools to create impact. I'm ready, Daddy. We'll continue this work together. Tom smiled. Emma was right. This was just the beginning. That night, Tom watched the city lights from his apartment window. Once he had been endlessly cycling through these streets for 3 jobs. Now he was touching hundreds of families' lives daily. Sarah's kindness hadn't just enabled Emma's surgery, it had created the transformation of thousands of families. And most importantly, it had shown Tom that one person's compassion can change everything. The real miracle wasn't the anonymous payment. The real miracle was human beings' capacity for unlimited kindness, for providing second chances, and for creating hope. And this hope continued to expand, one family at a time. 10 years later, the Tom Mitchell Foundation had become a national organization. Emma, now 18 and graduating valedictorian from high school, was preparing to study social work at Harvard on a full scholarship. Daddy, she said on graduation day, do you remember when you used to tell me that angels were watching over us? I remember, Princess. I think you were right, but I also think sometimes we become the angels for other people. Tom hugged his daughter, now grown into a remarkable young woman. You know what the most beautiful part of our story is, Emma? What's that? It's not over. Every family we help, every life we touch, every person who finds hope because of what we do, that's the story continuing to write itself. Emma smiled, the same bright smile that had motivated Tom through those darkest days of 3 jobs and sleepless nights. Then let's make sure it's a story worth telling. As they walked across the graduation stage together, Tom reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From a desperate father working himself to death, to a recognized leader in social impact, to a family legacy that would continue with Emma and beyond. Sarah Davidson sat in the audience, now in her 50s, watching with tears of pride. Next to her sat hundreds of families whose lives had been transformed by the ripple effect that started with one act of anonymous kindness. The construction worker Carlos was there with his son, now a dental hygienist. Security guard James had brought his grandson, who'd received a scholarship from the foundation. Mrs. Henderson, now 82, had insisted on attending despite her age, wheeled in by her own grandson who had become a nurse, inspired by the kindness he'd witnessed. And in the very back, a young single mother sat quietly with her 7-year-old daughter. She had been one of the first families helped by Tom's program when her own child needed surgery. Now she worked as a program coordinator, helping other desperate parents navigate the same crisis she had once faced. The cycle continued, each act of kindness multiplying into countless others, each rescued family becoming rescuers themselves, each moment of despair transformed into lasting hope. Tom had learned that sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as the greatest challenges, that sometimes losing everything is the first step to finding your true purpose, and that sometimes when you think you're saving just one person, you're actually saving the world. As they left the graduation ceremony, Tom's phone buzzed with a text from a father in California. Mr. Mitchell, my daughter's surgery was successful. Thank you for showing me that miracles are real. Tom smiled and showed the message to Emma. Ready for another miracle, Princess? Always, Daddy. Always. Sometimes the people who change our lives are the people whose lives we've changed. And sometimes what looks like the end of our story is really just the beginning of something far more beautiful than we ever dared to imagine. Because the greatest miracles aren't the ones that happen to us, they're the ones that happen through us.